comedian Hasan Minhaj took on the Trump administration and the reporters who cover it in a sweeping roast of Washington on Saturday during the White House Correspondents Association dinner. In a wide-ranging monologue, The Daily Show correspondent poked and prodded President Trump and his top aides, despite their notable absence from the star-studded event. Trump announced in February that he would not attend the high-profile dinner, bucking decades of tradition. His aides also skipped, standing in solidarity with their boss. But Trump and his team's boycott of the annual gala didn't stop the Comedy Central comedian from tearing into the administration, with jokes alluding to perceived Trump campaign ties to Moscow that are being probed by congressional and FBI investigators. "I get it, I get it. We got to address the elephant that's not in the room," Minhaj joked. "The leader of our country is not here. And that's because he lives in Moscow. It is a very long flight. It would be hard for Russian President Vladimir Putin to make it. As for the other guy, I think he's in Pennsylvania because he can't take a joke," he said. Trump held a rally in Harrisburg, PA, on Saturday evening, a dueling event where he slammed members of the media who attended the dinner in Washington. He tweets at 3 a.m. sober. "Who is tweeting at 3 a.m. sober?" Minhaj said. "Donald Trump, because it's 10 a.m. in Russia. Those are business hours." It wasn't only Trump on the receiving end of Minhaj's roast. The comedian also took aim at several media outlets, including C-SPAN, CNN, MSNBC and Fox News. "It's almost as if The Daily Show should be on C-SPAN," he said of the Comedy Central show's frequent jokes about the Trump administration. "It has left zero impact." Minhaj also got in a jab at former President Barack Obama, who did not attend the dinner but was present each year while he was office. "Who would have thought with everything going on in the country right now that a Muslim would be standing on this stage for a 9th year in a row, baby," Minhaj joked, a reference to unfounded accusations that Obama is a Muslim. "We had 8 years of Barack. What's another year? I see you fam, I see you Barry. What you doing right now? You jet skiing while the world burns?" But Minhaj's speech, at times, was more solemn, addressing the importance of free speech and a free press, particularly under a president who has called the media the enemy of the people. "Only in America can a first-generation Indian Muslim kid get on this stage and make fun of the president," he said. "The orange man behind the Muslim ban. Even the president is not beyond the reach of the First Amendment." The Daily Show comedian and host of the 2017 White House Correspondents' Dinner Hasan Minhaj mocked everyone from Bill O'Reilly to the 45th president himself during the annual event. President Donald Trump, who was conspicuously absent for the proceedings, took the brunt of the jokes, with Minhaj referring to him as the liar-in-chief. "We've got to address the elephant that's not in the room," cracked the entertainment headliner. "The leader of our country is not here. And that's because he lives in Moscow. It's a very long flight. As for the other guy, I think he's in Pennsylvania because he can't take a joke." Trump was indeed in Pennsylvania, having scheduled a rally in Harrisburg to mark his 100th day in office. He began his remarks with a lengthy if familiar attack on the news media while dismissing the dinner and its participants. The dinner has gotten particularly favorable reviews this year by a number of media outlets for its lack of glitz and glam that come with Hollywood stars, and renewed focus on praising the First Amendment and freedom of press. Following impassioned speeches by the WCHA president and legendary Watergate journalists Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward, Minhaj explained that he was asked not to make fun of the absent president in absentia, because it would be childish. Speaking about the vice president, he said, "Mike Pence wanted to be here tonight, but his wife wouldn't let him because apparently one of you ladies is ovulating, so good job ladies. Now, Ivanka Trump isn't here either, but I wish he was so I could ask her the question we are all thinking. Why?" He joked about the first daughter. Minhaj then went straight for the jugular on the president, saying, "Donald Trump is liar-in-chief. He also made sure to bring up Trump's chief spokesman, saying, "I don't see Sean Spicer here tonight because I think he's at home Googling how to fake his own death." Though most of the attacks were centered on the new administration, Minhaj did take turns roasting different news organizations, and the media as a whole. "We're 100 days in, 1,030 days to go," he told the audience, explaining that he was rooting for their continued coverage of President Trump, but that they needed to calm down. "You guys are running the marathon, and I'm at the half-mile mark, giving you take for your nipples." Minhaj was given a standing ovation at the end of his attack, which he finished off by saying, "Donald Trump doesn't care about free speech. The man who tweets everything that enters his head doesn't care about the amendment which lets him do that." To finish things out, he went further into being asked not to make fun of Trump during his roast. "I was asked not to roast the president," he said. "And I completely understand that there's a combative relationship between the press and the White House. However, I had to make the decision. Do I just try to fit in and not ruffle feathers, or do I say what I really feel?" he asked. He then continued, making a pointed reference to the First Amendment. "Only in America can the first-generation Indian-American Muslim kid get on a stage and make fun of the president." This line echoed the overall message of the night, which was the importance of journalistic integrity and holding the president to the highest standard. Some of the most pointed words were spoken by Watergate legends Bob Woodward and Kyle Bernstein. Bernstein was applauded raucously for his repeated use of the word lies, a word which has become freighted with meaning as a series of mainstream media outlets have put aside years of convention to accuse Trump of lying directly, something most did not even do to Bill Clinton at the height of the Monica Lewinsky affair. "Follow the money, but also follow the lies," he said. "Our job is to put the best obtainable version of the truth out there. Period. Especially now." Woodward initially struck a more conciliatory note. "The press, especially the so-called mainstream media, comes under attack during presidential campaigns and their aftermath," he began. He then quickly turned on Trump. "The effort today to get this best obtainable version of the truth is largely done in good faith. Mr. President, the media is not fake news. Let's take that off the table as we proceed." The president made a stand by not attending the dinner on Saturday night, and instead renewed his fierce battle with the nation's political press corps at a rally in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He spoke to a crowd of nearly 10,000 people, which he claimed broke the all-time record for the arena. "There's another big gathering taking place tonight in Washington, D.C., he said, drawing a chorus of boos. "A large group of Hollywood actors and Washington media are consoling each other in a hotel ballroom in our nation's capital right now," he said, insisting that "I could not possibly be more thrilled to be more than 100 miles away from Washington's swamp." Trump also said he had attracted a much larger crowd, and much better people. Reporters from CNN and MSNBC, outlets that have historically been antagonistic toward the president, would actually rather be here instead of at the dinner, he said. "They would love to be with us right here tonight. But they're trapped at the dinner, which will be very boring. The media," he said, "deserves a very big, fat failing grade for its coverage of his first 100 days in office." He singled out the failing New York Times, saying its poor financial management has forced it to shrink its print edition past the point where pretty soon they'll only be on the internet. "The paper's getting smaller and smaller. Did you ever notice? It's starting to look like a comic book."